So Chris, in 2008,
Hmm.
you joined Megadeth.
Right.
What was that like, to be in Megadeth?
It's funny because for probably the first 6 to 8 months, I didn't even have a chance to think about it because I was so busy working. When I got the call, they asked me if I wanted, to potentially join Megadeth and be the lead guitarist, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely interested, and so I went and met with Dave, and we talked a little bit. I played a little bit for him, and then we just got back to work. It was like I had to learn 22 songs in less than a month, and so I just started learning the songs as quickly as I could, and even from there, we were adding new songs in the set list, and I'm always still going over everything that trying to always improve on it. So I'm always practicing, and for the first 6 months, I wasn't even thinking about what position I was holding or what I was really, I didn't take the step back and really look at what was going on. I was just like, I gotta practice, I gotta do my job, I gotta play these songs well.
That's cool.
So
You were a fan of Megadeth, obviously, prior.
yeah, I came more from like the shred guitar side of things, so I kind of followed Friedman into Megadeth, and then with Rust in Peace, actually, that's kind of what brought me in, and then I moved to the other catalog from there. I moved backwards into Peace Sells, and So Far So Good So What, and followed Friedman throughout the rest of his time during his time in Megadeth, and then onward into when Chris rejoined. And
Well, Dave has been quoted in March of 2009 as saying you were probably the greatest guitar player that Megadeth has had.
wow.
What reaction do you have to that?
That's just that. Wow. I mean, it's quite humbling, because Megadeth's known for its guitar players, and they're all great. And all I try and do is do each one of them justice when I play their material, and then, when I'm adding my own, I'm just hoping that people like what I do.
Well, obviously they do.
Oh, thanks.
So you are endorsed by Ibanez
Right.
guitars,
Hmm.
and there was rumor that you were probably going to switch to Dean, which is known for being the Megadeth guitars.
Right.
But you've never done that.
No. For me, I really feel like Ibanez is a great guitar, and I love the way mine play. I'm really happy with the customer service and the way they treat me. So, I couldn't see myself switching. I just love their guitars.
Well, you got to play what you're comfortable with.
Right, exactly.
So recording Endgame, it's the 12th album.
Right.
Tell me about it. What was the recording process like? Favorite songs?
I would say my favorite song is probably How the Story Ends, and that's just because it's so diverse. It runs from a nice kind of groove sound into I think it's a 7/8 fill. It's been a while since I've counted it, but then it goes in from that sort of almost a progressive kind of feel into the classical guitar part, and then the solo. So I really like the diversity of that song quite a bit. The recording process was really cool because it was the first time I've been able to come in and actually sit down and listen to something that I've had a hand in and say, oh, you know what, maybe we should put another verse in here, or maybe we should, expand the chorus, or maybe we should drop the tempo down a little bit on this part, or speed it up here. It's a luxury that I've never had before, because prior to this, I've always had to know exactly what I was going to record when I went into the studio. And because time constraints were such that, you only had a maximum of like 2 weeks in the studio, and that's to get everybody's part done and mixed and mastered and be out the door with it. And with this, it was just like, well, if we need a little more time, we need a little more time. So it was quite a luxury, actually.
So how's this tour going?
It's going great. I think the fans really love Rust in Peace, It's amazing to see even the young kids seem like they've owned it for years and years, had an original copy or something like that, because they are just as into it as their parents are when their parents come with them sometimes, and it's great to see that.
Yeah, there's a whole new generation of young kids now getting into the old school rock.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's awesome.